Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, we're going to be bringing Ash on the channel to talk about the differences in the content creator program for Plarium and Supercell, because he's got a lot of perspective to share on these things, dealing with many different content creators and within the agency, and also being a part of multiple different companies and doing this stuff. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for you to get a behind the scenes look and some perspective as to what it's like maybe from a content creator's perspective in these different games and in these different programs. We'll also touch on other random content creator stuff and behind the scenes type of stuff that might be fun for you to learn about, because I like to upload a video once a week or so, having a conversation with somebody and touching on other topics to learn from other people on. So that is going to be this video, and let's get into it. Alrighty, and now joined by Mr. Ash himself from Ash Raid Shadow Legends channel. How you doing today, brother?
Chosen, what's up, dude? Always a pleasure. I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, hanging in there, grinding this this new fusion. I thought it would be fun to talk about. I like to cover kind of off the wall topics once or twice a week on my channel, and just get perspective from people that I think have a different perspective to share. And I know a lot of us in the raid community and a lot of the content creators are actually new to doing content. Maybe haven't worked with other companies and stuff, and I know we talked about it in a collab like 6 months ago for a couple minutes, but I wanted to get like an actual video on your perspective of like Plarium versus working for another big company in their content creator program. I know you have a lot of familiarity with Supercell. So to talk about the differences in dealing with, how they manage things, how Plarium manages things, maybe the good and the bad of each side of that, and just some perspective that you have that I wouldn't have, not having been in a different content creator program.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Like you told me the topic I did. I'm like, hey, man, if you think people are going to be interested, I'm down to talk about it, bro. Like, there's definitely a lot of similarities and a lot of differences, and I've been really fortunate. I'm an old man. I'm getting to be very old here, and I've worked with a lot of developers now in not just Supercell and Plarium, but those are definitely the two bigger companies that I've worked with. Whether it's to be ambassador programs or just a creator program or everything in between. So yeah, there's a lot of differences, but yeah, bro, excited to chat.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, let's start with, I guess the thing that people are most not going to know about. What's it like? Are you still in Supercell's content creator program, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So,
and
yeah.
what's it like being in that program? What's it entail? Because like, we know the raid one from our perspective, and we'll talk about that for the viewers. But go ahead and let us know what it's like to be in Supercell's creator program.
Yeah, so Supercell's creator program, I mean, I joined it back in 2014, so it's been quite a while, and it evolved quite a bit as well. So it's in a lot of ways it's kind of unfair to compare covering one genre, one games, a subset of games with another, because again, back with Supercell in the beginning, it was nothing. It was literally a Skype chat with 8 other creators, and we just got early sneak peek access. That was all it was. But now, throughout the last 7-8 years, it's really expanded and it's become a really robust, program with thousands of content creators. And that's the biggest difference, I guess, is like the sheer number of content creators that cover the games. There are probably, I don't know, around 3,500 content creators in the Supercell creator program. And I'd venture a guess you probably have a better idea than I, but maybe around 40 or 50, including Russian in all languages and Plarium. Is that about right, you think?
Yeah, I'd say 50 to 75. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's grown just similar to,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, besides like ones in Slack, ones in Discord, and, the way that they communicate, I will say that there's much more of a dialogue, I guess, on Plarium's side, meaning that not from the developer point of view, but from the creators. Like it was for me, it was very eye-opening, right? Because joining in the Plarium creator program, it's the creators are a lot more vehement and direct with their feedback, right? So like at first, and I'm not making any judgment there, it's just like my observation, right? Like people will get very upset and mad in the Plarium, whereas there's like a very I guess a different tenor of the conversation with Supercell versus Plarium, where the creators, I feel like oftentimes, and you might again very very well say rightfully so, are very, I guess, aggressive. Is that fair to say in the Plarium? Like, you need to fix this. This is broken. People are going to hate this. Very constant communication, which I think honestly probably benefits Plarium in a lot of ways. Sure, it might be direct, but also, it helps them avoid pain points, or at least have a heads up to pain points in the community. Whereas with Supercell, oftentimes I think it's more of a, okay, here's what we're doing. And we're not asking for I mean, they'd ask for feedback a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's just the conversation is a lot different, I guess, Other than that, Supercell has a long-standing, a forever policy of never giving anything in-game to anybody, no matter what, and never paying their content creators. So they do have a creator code, which I guess technically kind of breaks that rule, kind of like the Fortnite codes or whatever, where you can use a viewer or a subscriber can use their favorite creator's code, and they get a little kickback. I think it's around like 2 to 5%, depending on if it's before or after the iTunes store and Google takes their cuts. So that's like the mechanism to get perks. With Supercell, they also give merch for us to give away, and they have like a really cool kind of system where they're always giving us like stuff. They have a whole some of it's probably like confidential, but there's no payments, but we have like merch and stuff like that, right? And early access as well. So there's a lot of perks, and Supercell does a really good job of taking care of us in terms of opportunities, I guess. For me, they opened up the whole world for me back in 2015 when I first went to Finland, and I probably traveled on Supercell's dime like 50 times around the world, So they're very in-person event oriented, which is difficult to compare Plarium to because of COVID the last, year and a half or so. So, in the beginning of the Plarium days, I think they did have a couple in-person gatherings as well.
Well, right before, the pandemic, they were planning something. Like, they were telling me to get my passport ready, and they were gonna fly out, I think, like 10 to 15 of us or so. I don't know. I don't remember the exact
Ukraine,
detail.
huh? Gonna go, like bungee jumping or something crazy in Ukraine. Those activities are awesome, though. It really brings the creators together. And honestly, just putting on my psychiatrist hat here for a moment, I think that's part of the reason that there's like a different level, a different tenor of the communication, is because I've seen and met with Supercell staff, like I said, dozens and dozens of times, throughout the years. And there's really, that develops friendships, obviously, and at least a mutual respect, if not friendships. And with Plarium, we don't have that face-to-face as content creators. So, and it's not just, when I say content creators, it sounds like so, I don't know, dumb, but it's not just content creators. It's Reddit moderators. It's event organizers. It's, everybody who's a part of the community, website developers, like all of those people. When I say content creators, it encompasses everybody. And that's something too, a little bit of a difference between Plarium. They don't really involve, it's only YouTubers and streamers in their creator program. Whereas Supercell, it's everybody. Reddit community, Discord community, web developers, everybody who makes content around their game.
I think you have a good point about not having that in-person community, because people act way different online than they do in person.
Frankly, there's more drama in the raid community as well. I'm like, people probably get wind of stuff, and like, dude, I have no time for that stuff, and I stay so out of it. And I know you're the same way, but there's really, for having thousands of creators, there's really not much drama, right? And I think that, might come into play with like having to be family friendly with Supercell. Like, there's just different like environment, I guess. And it's not better or worse, but it's different. And I think that's a big reason to your point.
Yep. And because I was a StarCraft player, and I used to think it was always very interesting, because like online, when you beat somebody, they start raging and calling you names, and we all know how people are in multiplayer games. But in person at StarCraft tournaments, everyone is so friendly. Like, when they lose, they're like, hey, good win, man. Right? Like, good job. No one like rages and throws a tantrum like in person. So it's way different how just,
it's so true.
And so you're right. The fact that these in-person things never got to happen because of how the world has been the last 2 years is probably why that's a good point. That's a good perspective that you had in there.
Yeah, it's cool that they give us perks though in the Plarium creator system or whatever. It's nothing crazy, but it's cool to get a little bit something in game, and it makes up for the fact that they don't have like any sort of a monetary, benefit. But yeah, either way, I think that it's a lot different. But at the end of the day, too, it's just developers trying to communicate with their content creators, and I think it's a good thing either way you look at it.
Yeah, and I think Plariums might be one of the only ones that have no sort of like code nowadays. Like Supercell and all these other mobile games that they have creator codes where their viewers can get like perks. They did one for Ninja, but I don't know if Ninja got like a kickback on any of the promo codes that were put in or anything. Plarium seems to really be trying to stay away from that type of stuff.
Yeah, Plarium has a very hard and fast policy that they don't like advertise or pay, their organic content creators, and that might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing. I really don't have any strong opinion on it because everything's different, and I like. After 7 years of doing it now, I've become accustomed to the fact of not getting any in-game resources or payment from Supercell. But, as I mentioned, I work with a lot of different developers as well. Maybe not directly, but, through other people. And I'll tell you that both Plarium and Supercell is the extreme anomaly. There we go. When it comes to paying. Like, there's big money being paid by almost every other popular game out there that has a big following and a big, stable of creators. Just flat out, play our game, and, I don't want to get into any more detail again, be trying to be respectful of NDAs and whatnot. But, overall, everything's a little bit different, but at the end of the day, there's so many vehicles for content creators to make a living, to make an income. Yeah, more would be nice, but I think that if you're a hustler, if you're a go-getter, if you're, a hard worker, I do think that there's a path for pretty much everybody. It just takes time, and that's the thing that I always tell everybody. I was actually telling the guy at the desk worker at my gym this morning. He's like, I started a Twitch channel. I'm like, that's awesome, man. And he's like, yeah, I've been doing it for like 3 weeks, and I'm still streaming to 2 people, man. And I'm just like, yeah, man, well, try 2 more years of that. And that's where I feel the hump is for content creators. Unless you really get lucky or strike gold or have the most charismatic personality ever, or have a real unique angle, or you're a top player, it takes a long time to grind, to grow. And I feel like that's that barrier that prevents a lot of people from having success.
Yep, and I always tell people it's like making it in Hollywood or something, or making it as a musician. There's people that are extremely talented that it just never works out for them. The cards never align. And then there's people that they go out to Hollywood, they're there for a week, they get a role, boom, they blow up, and like it is what it is. Like it's everybody has a different journey, a different story. I didn't make a penny for 10 years. Like,
well, yeah, that was my next question for you.
Yeah, so
you, man.
I started doing content in 2008. I didn't make $1 until 2019. So,
wow, dude.
So yeah, I mean, everybody's.
I was bad for 2 years. I went from like 2014 to 2016 without really making enough, certainly to leave my career at the time. But it took me about 2 and a half, 2 years. But wow, man, props to you, dude. Props to you. Oh, that's pretty incredible.
Props.
But obviously you loved it,
Yeah.
You loved it.
Because
why would you do it for 10 years? I hope you loved it, man. Because why would you do it for 10 years?
Or it's a bad thing. Or it's a bad thing that it took me that long to learn how to
like anything in life, it's stupid, not to sound so preachy on my soapbox, but like everything in life, if you enjoy it, it's going to be okay, right? And if you're doing it for the right reasons, it's going to work itself out, and whether it takes 2 years or 8 years or 2 months or 2 days, if you're in it for the money and the money alone, especially as a video game content creator, it's going to be very, very difficult. Like a lot of the creators that I work with, and we work with like hundreds, if not thousands of creators, on a weekly basis. And a lot of the creators that I work with, it's shocking, man. Like it really debunks the stereotype of your typical, like, privileged teenager content creator or whatever, YouTuber. A lot of them are extremely picky in what they'll advertise and how much money means to them. I think that it's actually the exact opposite of what I expected, in terms of that entitled attitude. Like you get that, of course, with some people, but the vast majority are really passionate about the games, and it's kind of refreshing in a way to actually see that, because, you just never know.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to be that way because if you're not, like, you're not going to be making, like, it's different than a career where day one you're making money. Like, in order to make money in content, it's very rare that within the first few months you'll be making money. That's extremely rare. So if you're not passionate about it, your odds of sticking with it, like, you can stick with a job because you're getting paid day one. Again, it's guaranteed. But yeah,
Yeah. But I
if,
would say, like, going back to the creator programs and stuff like that, I would say that if somebody out there watching right now is like, hey, maybe these guys are motivating me to actually do something, make some content. I think that Raid's actually a great game to start with because, again, it's not all about the money, but Raid is like the highest CPMs, which basically means how much you're getting paid per ad on your video, like out of all of gaming. Like, because you guys watching right now tend to spend a little bit of money, or you have the proclivity to spend more money than your average Roblox, content viewer, So, to that end, you can make like a decent, some pocket change, see a movie or do whatever, go out to take your girl to dinner or something, or your man to dinner, off of Raid Shadow Legends, add, even with a very small following, averaging a couple hundred views or something on a video, So that's kind of cool. But, I would encourage anybody, back to my main point, to reach out to Plarium, or, if you're covering a Supercell game, because both Plarium and Supercell, like the people who engage with us, I'm not talking about them as overall companies here, but the people who we interface with, I have to be totally honest, and whatever, you can call me a shill, not you, but you can call me a shill or whatever, but they're really kind people, like really will go out of their way to help creators and, help us deal with pain points. Like, I reached out to Supercell probably 10 times. I was that squeaky wheel, back in 2015, until they actually responded. When they did, I felt like I made it, I was probably, again, averaging like 500 views per video if I was lucky at that time. And I'm like, I made it. They responded to me, and they kind of, welcomed me in their whatever. I felt like it was the inner circle at the time. And they were just so, it gave me that motivation, I think, and those relationships gave me that motivation to say, I can do this. Like, I'm not that entertaining. I'm an aging gamer. I'm not the best player, but it gave me that energy, that positive momentum, that energy that I was really just kind of craving. I didn't even know it at the time. So I would encourage anybody to, if they make content, give it a little bit of time, maybe don't go after 2 videos and say, hey, Plarium, I'm ready, give it a few months, see if you like it, see if you enjoy it, and then approach Plarium or Supercell or whoever, because both companies actually do a really good job of engaging with their creators. Do they always have the answers we want? No. But, in terms of helping us out, I mean, it, like Plarium made your intro. They made one of my intros. They help with end screens. They can help with graphics, stuff like that, and just helping with questions or, subscriber giveaways, stuff like that. So there's a lot that can be gained, I feel like, from having a really strong relationship with the developer.
cool. And before I let you go, to stay on topic of the video, and I got to get this out of you, which one does their creator program better? Plarium or Supercell?
It's really not close, and it's Supercell. But again, it's very unfair to compare because, I mean, Supercell, again, I don't want to breach any NDAs. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not. But like, they have a really robust, like they have websites and stuff, that we can use to interface. And like I said, they have the creator code system, and as I said, 8 years of flying and getting to know these guys and going on all kinds of adventures around the world, everywhere from Dubai to Japan to all over Europe with these people and building those relationships. And, for me, I haven't had that opportunity with Plarium yet, and just the overall tenor of the relationship and the conversation. As I said, it's a little bit different, but they had a lot, longer time to do that. So yeah, I mean, that's not a knock at Plarium in terms of the way that they deal with us. Like, I've had no complaints, other than like taking 6 months to get them on for an interview. But I'm just being a needy SOB because I really want to chat with them. But yeah, man, I think that overall, just because of how long they've been around, Supercell.
Yeah, that's probably tough from their end though, because like if you have 50 content creators that all want to do an interview with you, and then you do one with somebody, and now everyone else is gonna get salty. Like, why did they get an interview and not me? I've been doing this.
Well, I recorded an interview with them, right? A little backstory. I recorded an interview probably 3 or 4 months ago, and to their credit, it was pretty bad. You know, I knew it was going to land awfully after. It was a 40-minute interview with Cirilla and Banana Jam, the two community people, right?
Yeah.
And the next day they messaged. I had it all edited and ready to go. You know, the next day they messaged and they're like, you know what? Probably don't put that out. Not because there was like some secret information.
Yeah.
It was just every question I asked them, and I asked them all the hard hitters. You know, where's the dupe system? What's a silver? Back then it was a silver issue. You know, like it still kind of is, but you know, like these are the hot topics. And they just had no, like, they were like, at some point in the future, at some point in the future. And I'm like, dude, people are going to hate, in my head, I'm like, people are going to hate this. So anyway, they're like, don't post that, but we'll have one really soon with you, another one, you know? And so I've been waiting for that other one, you know? But I'm just being like,
yeah,
I really have
they've got to do a better job of like, you know, having something to give, because you're right. People don't want to hear for 45 minutes like, okay, yeah, thanks for letting us know, and yeah, probably someday in the future you might see that.
Yeah, and they're really kind. Like they're both such sweethearts.
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
You feel almost like a jerk to be like, yeah, but what about this? People are really mad about this, you know, because you don't want to let your audience down too. You're in this weird spot of like, you know, not that I'm certainly not trying to suck up to them. Like I don't really care if they hate me, but of course they seem like likable, nice people. I want to be like friendly. But at the same time, I want to do justice to my audience too. I'm sure you've been there too, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, but anyway, I'm just blabbering at this point. Chosen, thanks for having me on, bro.
Hey, yeah, no, you know, you're good.
I don't know who's still watching at this point. This guy ramble about Supercell and Plarium, but
no, we keep it casual around here. Once a week, I try to have a conversation with somebody and just kind of chill. And so yeah, thanks for sharing your perspective. And I also did a collaboration with Ash today. If you're coming from his video, thank you. And if you are coming to my video first, I'm going to link down below and check out our conversation about the dupe system and all that good stuff over on your channel. So anything else you want to say on the way out, or?
Nah, man, just thanks so much for doing everything that you do for the community. People don't know this behind the scenes. We're gonna suck up to you a little bit here, but it's true. People don't know this behind the scenes, but man, Chosen has everybody's back. You know, like you're the guy going out there. Like you even every fusion, like Chosen DMs me images of like the fusion that he puts together and stuff, and he's like, hey, you can use this. You don't ask for anything. You're not asking for like money or credit or anything like that. So you know, not just that, but just like you're the guy that every creator, you know, if they're like, okay, what's one creator that you really get along with, or they're like, oh, Chosen, Brad, you know? So thank you so much for what you do for the community, bro. And thanks for having me on.
Hey, yeah, well, hey, I appreciate the kind words, and it's definitely mutual. Thanks for everything you've brought to the raid community and your perspective on everything. I know it's helped a lot. So yeah, thanks a lot, man. We'll do it soon.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Alrighty, so again, massive thank you to Ash for taking the time here to come join me and have this conversation to share his perspective on these different things and these different programs and different companies. It was a lot of fun chatting with him. I will link down below to his Raid Shadow Legends channel. It is definitely worth checking out. I don't know exactly when he's going to upload our collaboration about the dupe system on his channel, but I will link to the channel down below. It's a great one to follow. So that'll do it for me in this one. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.